We've got Philly at the 7 seed, Miami at the 8 seed, Chicago at the 9 seed, and Atlanta at the 10. I think we all know it's going to be Philly and Miami coming out of that series. But who do you think comes out of those two, gets the 7 seed?
I think it's probably Philly. I think overall they're a better team. They're probably not even like supposed to be a play-in team. If Embiid were healthy the whole time, they'd be towards the top of the East, I'm sure. And the Heat have dealt with injuries too, but I don't know. Overall talent level, I think the Sixers are better, but we've seen the Heat pull more ridiculous shit in the past. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them win, but just from a basketball standpoint, on paper, I'm picking the Sixers over the Heat.
Yeah, I'd agree. Just because the Sixers would probably have grabbed. Oh shit! I'm realizing now they're only 3 games back from the 2 seed, so they would be undoubtedly the 2 seed if they weren't. If Joel Embiid didn't get hurt, so for sure I'm going with the Sixers there. And then I mean the Heat probably want the Celtics anyways. Like they've been pretty good against them. So for the Bulls Hawks, just jump off topic. I don't see either one of those teams beating the loser. So
yeah, who fucking cares?
I think it's gonna be Sixers Heat making it into the playoffs, and the Bulls and Hawks are gonna be off a cliff like they should be.
It would be pure comedy if either the Sixers or Heat missed the playoffs, though.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen though. I've probably got Philly coming out with the 7 seed like you guys. I think they're a pretty fake 7 seed, like you said. Embiid's out half the season, and they're 3 games behind the 2 seed. I think with full season of Embiid, they would have a solid grip on the 2 seed. I think something a little more interesting though is kind of what comes out of this, because these are both teams that I think can overperform compared to their playoff seeding. So going against Boston and New York, I think those could be some really interesting series that seed wise may look like blowouts, but I think on court are a little more interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue into our first round preview here. And we'll start it out east. Celtics versus Heat, hypothetical. Who do you guys have in that one?
I'm going with Boston, obviously. I mean, they're the best team in the league. It would just be so funny, though, to see the Heat sneak that series, or at least take it to 7 games. I mean, Heat fans have been, had the Boston Celtics number for a couple seasons now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that go to 7, to be honest.
Yeah, no.
Not for sure.
Yeah, I probably would pick the Celtics just because they won't have to go through the play-in. So I mean, they're obviously rested and everything. They've had they've had the 1 seed for what feels like 3 weeks probably is how long they've had it. So they've just been getting ready for this. So I think they'll just be more prepared. I don't think playoff Jimmy is real. It's just like Santa. Like it's not really something you can rely on every year.
Santa comes on time every single year. What are you talking about?
That's why I say he's not Santa.
Yeah.
He doesn't come every year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's less Jimmy Butler that kind of earns the Heat reputation. Jimmy Butler's actually a career playoff dropper, fun fact, if you actually look at stats. So I've always loved that one. But I think it's more the role players that kind of step up to the plate, like we saw with Strus and Gabe Vincent last year. I could see, Duncan Robinson cooking up. I could see maybe like a Terry Rozier heater, but I don't think they have anything to stop the Celtics.
Yeah, Celtics in that one, but probably closer than it should be.
What do y'all think about a hypothetical New York Knicks versus Sixers matchup?
That is a really interesting one.
It's obviously worst case scenario for Knicks. At that point, you might as well have dropped to the 3 seed and playing the Pacers. Like it's gonna be pretty tough if they do match up there, because I don't think they have the energy left, man. Like I don't even want to check how many minutes per game Josh Hart plays. It's definitely north of like 37 for.
It's like 58 or something.
Yeah.
He's playing 2 overtimes a night.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, the Knicks have actually done fairly decently in the playoffs, like last year. But if they get matched up against the Sixers, I don't see them faring too hot. I would be surprised if they were able to take it to 7. So I'd definitely pick the Sixers. With the Heat, I think it'd be a closer matchup, but Sixers, I think, will pretty easily beat them.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call it an easy win for the Sixers, but I would definitely pick them over the Knicks. I think they're a better team, and like you were saying, everyone who matters on the Knicks has been playing 300 minutes a night for 3 months. They're all going to be dead. Sixers for me, so long as Joel Embiid looks like Joel Embiid and isn't a shell of himself coming off an injury, which he should be fine, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'd pick Sixers as well. Joel Embiid's looked close to how he was pre-injury. I think no Randall really hurts the Knicks. They don't have a guy that can fill that offensive production in the interior super well. Mitchell Robinson coming back is good, but I think they've developed more chemistry with Hartenstein. I wouldn't be shocked if they actually start Hartenstein for some of those games.
I think
I think I'd probably pick Philly in 6, I would say. I think New York's a little too beat up and a little lacking talent at this point in their franchise.
3 versus 6 is Bucks Pacers. Giannis is still hurt, and I don't think they've announced whether or not he's good to go. So, assuming he doesn't play for like the first 3 games, I could definitely see the Pacers just socking the shitty Bucks defense in the face. I think matchup wise, like in the regular season, past, I'm pretty sure the Pacers have done well against the Bucks. And
yeah, they're 3-1 this season.
Yeah, so
4-1.
I think if Giannis only misses that first game, the Bucks probably take that just because they have home court. But I think if he misses those first 2 games, I don't really see them winning with Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers can't win while up 3-1. So I don't think if they go down 1-2 with Giannis missing those games, that they'll be able to bounce back.
Yeah, I got the Pacers winning as well. I think it's looking pretty likely that Giannis is out at least the first game. I would be shocked if he misses less than 2. And I think at that point, it's pretty much Pacers game at that point. I think even with Giannis healthy, the Pacers have caused Bucks problem. It's actually 4-1 series on this season for the Pacers. Tyrese really messes up that weak perimeter defense with Dame and Pat Connaughton. And Siakam and Miles Turner can handle Giannis okay on the defensive end, even if Giannis can kind of lock him up on the other end. I think Chris Middleton is going to play a really big role. I think if the Bucks even want to have a shot, he's got to be the dude he was 2 years ago. I think offensively, he's got to put up a lot of production, especially if Giannis is out. I think, if he's in, Giannis is going to get collapsed on all series. Chris benefits the most from that, I think, because it's going to be him guarded by one of the weaker perimeter guys on the Pacers. I could see Dame going crazy on Tyrese, to be fair. So I think both teams, it's strong interior, weak perimeter. I think if Giannis is healthy, it's a toss-up at best. If he misses 2 games, I'm pretty sure this is the Pacers.
Yeah, for me, if it's no Giannis, even the first 2 games, easy Pacers. With Giannis, I still probably lean Pacers. Either way, if I were a betting man, I'm putting it on the Pacers.
Yeah, I think that in the scenario that Giannis gets rushed back from his injury, his calf injury, if he goes out there and he tears his Achilles, then Doc Rivers will need to permanently have a security detail around him 24/7, and rightfully so.
That will not stop me.
Nate will turn into prime Aaron Donald, and
10 years of built-up Doc Rivers rage will come out of me if he kills Giannis.
Yeah, I was thinking more like prime Lee Harvey Oswald, but I mean... All right, what do you guys think about this series? Destined for 1 p.m. slots, Magic versus Cavs.
As much as people aren't going to watch this series, I think it's going to be really good hoops, actually. Individual matchups, I'm looking at it. I think Jalen Suggs will do a good job slowing down Donovan Mitchell, but you're never going to stop him. He's going to get his. Overall, the Cavs just have more firepower. I think they're a little bit worse defensively, but not to the same level that the Magic are worse offensively. So it's going to be a close one, I think, but I am going to pick the Cavs in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cavs as well. If they're matched up against quite literally any other team even one of the play-in teams, other than the Magic, I'd have a little more caution with that pick, just because the reason I say that is because the Cavs have just looked really shitty down the stretch of this season when they could have actually really moved up in the seeding. But I still have the Cavs, just because I don't think the Magic are just have anywhere near the amount of experience that's necessary, especially going up against like a solid defensive team with a bunch of solid bigs. I don't think Paolo is gonna have as much success as he did in the regular season, and they just don't really have a lot of support offensively for him. So I'd say it's probably pretty easily Cavs. I'd say probably like 5 Cavs and 5.
Going with the Cavs too. I think I am excited to watch Jared Allen versus Franz Wagner. I think that'll just be some really fun high level center play. But I think having that strong defensive front court or that Cleveland has is really going to cause Paolo some problems with scoring. And I don't think the Magic guards have the offensive capability to come up with that. I think my X factor was shooting of the Magic guards. If they can shoot well, I think maybe that happens. But I mean, that has not historically happened this season. I think, Suggs on Donovan Mitchell will be a pretty good way to stop Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Suggs cannot get switched because Black and Harris cannot defend for shit. Cavs take this just having the better backcourt with, an equally talented front court. It's probably, I don't know if it's done in 5. I think it goes to 6 or 7, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, solidly locking in the Cavs.
All right, guys, taking it out west. First round, Thunder versus whatever 8 seed you picked. How are we looking at that one?
So I think Thunder versus New Orleans, Sacramento, or Golden State goes the Thunder's way every time. I think those teams just don't have the skill to compete with an elite OKC team.
I don't really see the Pelicans or Kings, though, competing very well with them. So my pick is the Pelicans. So I'd say they put up a fight, but I'd say probably Thunder in 6 on that one. And with the potential Zion matchup, I think that will get dangerous for them. Could go 7, but I would think OKC wins against the Pelicans there. But
Yeah, I'd probably pick the Thunder over all 4 of the play-in teams, but the Lakers are like the nightmare matchup for them out of those 4. I would predict that one going 7 and the Thunder barely making it out alive. And wouldn't be surprised at all if the Lakers beat the Thunder. And the other 3 teams, I would be shocked if they took down the Thunder. So overall, probably Thunder advance. If it's the Lakers, they're shivering their timbers, but not overly worried for them because I think the Lakers will get 7.
yeah, just for a more finite prediction, I would say pretty confidently that it's probably more likely that the Lakers sweep the Thunder than the Thunder winning in 7, I would say.
I wouldn't go nearly that far.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to take a moment to process that. But
I think it's probably more likely that the Lakers sweep the Thunder than the Thunder sweep the Lakers. But
yeah,
I think that's going to be a close series if it happens. I don't think it's going to be just the Lakers demolishing them.
moving on to 2 and 7. I think we all think it's gonna be Nuggets versus the Lakers in this series. I'm taking the Nuggets in 4 or 5. I don't think anyone is stopping them this entire season. What do you guys think?
I could see the Lakers taking a couple games off, but I wouldn't really think twice about it if that was the matchup. And the other 4 teams, not a chance. It's the Nuggets advancing for me.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because I think that this is the Nuggets will get better as the playoffs go on. So I do think that, I'm a Laker fan, so I get the Lakers perspective on this, that the Lakers are really just going to try to win out that and play the Nuggets because you'll just get them before they're at full strength. And I do think that the Nuggets missing a couple pieces from last year's run is going to affect them more than people think. And I'd say that the Nuggets probably won't sweep whoever comes out, either Pelicans or Lakers. So I see it being a very close matchup, but I would probably, even if they do get matched up against the Lakers, which is my prediction, I would say probably Nuggets in 7. They beat them last year, and they beat them a lot this regular season. So I think that like the loss of Bruce Brown is going to like knock them down a peg, but I still think that, especially if AD has any injury problem, which he kind of already had at the end of this regular season, I'd say probably Nuggets in 7.
3-6 out west. Timberwolves, Suns. What are you guys thinking about that one?
This is a weird one, man. The Suns have had the Timberwolves' number past 2 seasons. I think Timberwolves have won 1 in the past 2 seasons, I believe. But I just don't think this will continue in the playoffs. Like, I don't see a way defensively for the Suns to manage Cat. And I think Edwards is going to he's going to put up 30 no matter who's guarding him. I think the Suns being so reliant on like tough jumpers makes them really inconsistent, which is not a good build for the playoffs. Like, there's not many teams I'd pick them against, to be honest. I think especially a team with the defense size and especially the rebounding ability of the Timberwolves, because I think that's a pretty important factor when going against heavy jump shooting teams. I could see the Suns having a streaky night, pulling a game or 2 off, but I don't know if this is super close. I'd probably pick Wolves in 6.
Yeah, I mean, this, in my opinion, this is the worst first round the Timberwolves could have gotten. And to be clear, I still think they'll win it, but I think the Suns are going to be a really pretty big handful for the Timberwolves, just because they have guys like Booker and KD who can hit tough shots pretty efficiently and are really good in the mid-range. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them run Booker on like pick and rolls to try to get Gobert switched onto him to get him mid-range jumpers. That seems like it could be an effective strategy for them. We'll see if they actually do that and how it plays out, but in my mind that makes sense for them. And then they do have good shooters statistically. How that's going to translate to the playoffs, I'm not sure. We've never seen Bradley Beal in any sort of contention, so we don't know what kind of playoff performer he is. But we know Booker can do it if they're not facing elimination. We know Kevin Durant can do it. We'll see if they can hit their threes, mostly because they do like to take a lot of threes. They're a jump shooting team. It's going to come down to whether they hit tough shots or not. And I think the Timberwolves are just overall a better team, so I'm going to pick them, but probably in 7.
Yeah, that's pretty much my pick too. I probably have them in 7. Yeah, not swayed by playoff Bradley Beal, I don't think. And I just think the Timberwolves are probably too good defensively. Just like the Timberwolves have a tough matchup with the Suns, I do think the Suns also would have rather had like the Thunder or anyone else. Like, I do think that a more offense-heavy team versus a more defense-oriented team with the Timberwolves, it'll be a very close one, I think. But I think if Ant just translates better than he kind of has in the past playoff, in their last playoff series, if he's just like that a little bit better, then I think barring like a KD berserk like 40-point a game series, then or a Booker 40-point a game series, I don't think the Sun will have that great of a shot, but it obviously will be very close all the way down to probably game 7.
The final series to discuss, Clippers Mavericks 4-5 out west. What are you guys thinking?
I think that it's a pretty easy bet to bet against Puny Genitals 13 and Hard On, just because they've had playoff falling offs. Harden a little bit more than the rest of them, but the Mavs Clippers series in the past have been really close. The Clippers have won both of them, but I think if there's ever a time where the Mavs are going to beat the Clippers, it's now. Yeah, I don't really trust the Clippers coaching to manage Westbrook, Harden, PG, and Kawhi, and it's still up in the air whether or not Kawhi is going to be 100%. So I'd say the Mavs probably squeak it out in 6 or 7, probably depending on if Kawhi plays all the games. I'd say it probably goes 7, but I'd favor the Mavericks on that one.
Interesting. So I'm picking the Clippers. For one, I think from what I've seen, it seems pretty unlikely Kawhi's going to miss any time. But this is definitely the most interesting first round series. I think Dante Exum, this is your time to shine. He needs to lock in on Harden and PG with like Luka and Kyrie as pretty subpar defenders. Exum's going to play a big role. I think the Clippers' tendency to switch everything is going to kind of throw a wrench in the Mavericks' offensive system. I think the Luka wait until there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock, then drive and kick. I think the Clippers' defense is well suited to handle that, as well as the off ball or dribble handoffs screen to three. I think Clippers can handle that well as well with their good wing defenders and switching everything. Playoff Harden is a real thing. I think he's one of. There's not many players that I think have a justified playoff reputation, but he is one of them. I think the Clippers are better suited to this than a lot of his past teams, the Sixers and the Rockets, because they don't need Harden taking 20 shots a game to win. They can have him, taking 9 shots, and as long as he's passing well, that's what matters. I think they should not get trapped in trying to play Westbrook. Limit his time to under 10 minutes would be pretty important for the Clippers. I think defensively, this is going to be tough for the Mavericks to stop. I'd say if you sit in a zone to try and stop PG and Kawhi from getting to the rim and try and force Harden and the other guys to make shots who are a little less consistent, then I think that works out better for them, but I'm still picking the Clippers. I think this defense is a particularly tough matchup for the Mavericks' offensive play style, and I think Dallas just lacks the personnel to counter the 1-2 punch of PG and Kawhi. This probably goes to 6 or 7, I think, with the Clippers winning.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Zach there. In the event that Kawhi is playing and 100%, and now the Clippers medical staff have lied about that before. There is a very real chance that he's not playing. The consensus right now is that it seems like he will, but they were claiming it was knee soreness all of last season until after they were eliminated. Then they said, nope, torn meniscus, he was never playing, which I hope they got fined $1 gazillion for doing that. But overall, if there's no Kawhi, easy Mavericks probably in 4, maybe 5. With Kawhi, probably Clippers in 7, but obviously could go either way. I think this is by far the most even matchup out of any of the series.
I think it's a way better decision to for the fans even to not report injuries down at the end of the regular season versus the Mavs Thunder game that occurred. It was 49 to 175. Those fans are they left in probably the first quarter.
Thank you all for tuning into this episode of Fuck It We Ball podcast. This has been a really fun one. I'm excited for the playoffs to start, y'all. And thank you all for tuning in. If you liked what you heard, please feel free to leave us a like on YouTube. Subscribe to us for more content. Our Instagram and Twitter are at FIWB Podcast. We've got some short form stuff up on Instagram and some general funny memery up on Twitter. So yeah, feel free to check it out. And thank you all for tuning in.